My family humiliated me for years as their responsible doormat, so I humiliated them in a legal mediation with evidence of their theft and hacking and watched their business destroyed. My name is Elara. For most of my life, I believed my family's love was conditional, a currency traded for compliance. I was Elara, the responsible one, the planner, the one who built her life not on dreams but on blueprints and balance sheets. I suppose that's why they always came to me. If a pipe burst, it was my number they dialed before the plumbers. If a tax form confounded them, my laptop was opened before they considered an accountant. I was the family's safety net, woven from a sense of duty I mistook for love. My sanctuary was not a person, but a place. It was the Alcyone, a historic 12-room boutique hotel nestled in a sleepy coastal town in Maine. I didn't inherit it. I built it. For 10 years, I poured every ounce of my soul, every saved penny from my thankless job as a project manager, into restoring the dilapidated 19th century sea captain's mansion. It was my masterpiece. The Alcyone wasn't just a business. It was the physical manifestation of my escape, my peace. Its wraparound porch looked out over the wild Atlantic. Its rooms were painted in hues of sea glass and stormy gray, and its silence was broken only by the cry of gulls and the rhythmic crash of waves. It was my world, meticulously constructed, brick by emotional brick. The antagonists in my story were my cousin, Liam, and his wife, Chloe. Liam, the visionary, as the family called him. He was all grand ideas and zero follow-through, a man who believed his charm was a substitute for competence. He'd floated through life on a cloud of family loans that were never repaid, and business ventures that spectacularly imploded, a food truck that never got its license, an app that tracked something no one could quite remember. He was the golden child, not for his achievements but for his potential, which our family nurtured like a rare orchid, always believing the next bloom was just around the corner. Chloe was the amplifier. Where Liam was breezy negligence, she was calculated entitlement. She came from old money that had long since dried up, but she carried the ghost of it with her, a perpetual air of expecting to be served. She was the one who would just adore a piece of my jewelry and be subtly hurt when I didn't immediately offer it. She was the master of the backhanded compliment. The Alcyone is so quaint, Elara. It's brave of you to think you can make a go of it out here. So far from everything. The pattern was established over a lifetime, a series of small betrayals that etched themselves into my psyche. Flashback 1, the college fund. When I was 18, my grandfather left me a $15,000 bond for college. Liam, 3 years older, had already blown through his own fund. He came to me all earnest desperation. He had a sure-thing investment in a friend's startup. He just needed a bridge loan, 6 months tops. He'd pay me back with interest. My parents pleaded his case. Family helps family, Elara. You're so good with your money. You can manage. Liam needs this. I relented. The startup was a phantom. The money vanished. When I brought it up a year later, the family mood turned frosty. You're still harping on that, Elara? You'll make it back. Liam's been through so much. Don't be grasping. Flashback 2, the wedding. Liam and Chloe's wedding was a lavish affair they couldn't afford. I was made a bridesmaid, an honor that came with a $400 dress I'd never wear again and the unspoken duty of handling the logistics. This meant I spent the wedding day not celebrating, but troubleshooting a faulty sound system, mediating a dispute with the florist, and personally driving to pick up the cake when the delivery driver failed to appear. At the end of the night, as Liam and Chloe departed in a shower of sparklers, my aunt hugged me and said, "Thank goodness you were here to handle everything. You're such a rock." It felt less like a compliment and more like a designation. Flashback 3, the favor for mom. My mother decided to downsize. The task of selling her house, managing the estate sale, and finding her a new apartment fell to me. Liam was too busy networking. For 2 months, every weekend was consumed by packing, pricing, and paperwork. I handled it all. The day after the move was complete, my mother took me to lunch. "You're a lifesaver, darling," she said, patting my hand. Liam was so worried about me through all this. He called every day. I sat there, the taste of my sandwich turning to ash in my mouth. He called. I did. These incidents, and 100 others like them, built a foundation of quiet resentment. They created a deep, sympathetic ache for a version of me who kept hoping for a different outcome, and a simmering frustration at the sheer, exhausting inequity of it all. I was the rock they built their house upon, and they never once looked down to see if I was cracking under the weight. The invitation came not as a request, but as a declaration. It was a family dinner at my parents' house, the air thick with the scent of roasted chicken and unspoken agendas. Liam and Chloe were there, beaming with a fervor I immediately distrusted. "Elara, we have the most amazing news," Chloe began, her voice syrupy. "We've finally found our calling. Our legacy." Liam leaned forward, his eyes alight. "We're starting a consultancy. Curated corporate retreats. We bring high-level executives to unique, inspiring locations for intensive, out-of-the-box strategic thinking." My heart sank. I knew where this was going before he even said it. "And we found the perfect venue," Chloe said, her smile widening. "The Alcyone. It's ideal. Secluded, beautiful, full of character. We can launch our entire brand from there." The betrayal wasn't in the ask. It was in the assumption. They hadn't come to me as a business proposition. They had come to claim what they saw as a family resource. "It's a brilliant synergy," Liam continued, oblivious to my frozen silence. "You run the hotel part, the bookings, the housekeeping, the meals, all the mundane details you're so good at. And we'll handle the high-value clientele, the programming, the vision. We'll be partners." The escalation was swift. When I demurred, suggesting the Alcyone wasn't suited for corporate groups and that I had a very specific vision for my clientele, the atmosphere curdled. "But you're barely half full most weeks," my father said, his tone gently chastising. "This could be the financial security you need." "It's a fantastic opportunity for you to be part of something bigger," my mother added, "instead of just hiding away up there by yourself." The word hiding stung. My sanctuary was being reframed as a hermitage. The boundary violations mounted over the next week. Liam stopped by the Alcyone with a corporate client from Boston, giving them an unauthorized tour, talking about our plans for the sunrise meditation deck as if it were a done deal. Chloe began sending me emails with color palettes and branding guides for Alcyone retreats, instructing me on how to tweak my interior design to be more corporate-friendly. My polite refusals were met with gaslighting. "We're just trying to help you, Elara," Liam would say, his voice dripping with faux concern. "You're so resistant. It's like you don't want to succeed." Then came the line in the sand. It was a Sunday evening. I was in my office reviewing ledgers when I saw it. A charge on my business bank account for $5,000. My blood ran cold. The memo line read, "Retreat launch deposit, L&C Consultancy." I called Liam, my hand trembling with a cold, pure fury I had never known. "What is this?" His voice was breezy, unconcerned. "Oh, that? Our first client. A tech firm from Silicon Valley. They loved the place. We needed to secure the date, so I used the business card you have on file for emergencies. Consider it our first revenue share." I felt the world tilt on its axis. He hadn't just asked. He hadn't just presumed. He had taken. He had accessed my finances and taken my money, my sanctuary's money, as if it were his own. You stole from me," I whispered, the words feeling inadequate. "Stole? Don't be dramatic, Elara. It's an investment in the family business. We're partners, remember? This is how partnerships work. You provide the capital and the labor. We provide." The shift was immediate and total. The tears of hurt and outrage dried up, replaced by a focused clarity. I was no longer Elara, the put-upon cousin. I was Elara, the defender of the Alcyone. My emotions were no longer a liability to be manipulated. They were fuel to be channeled. I realized I had been fighting the wrong battle. I'd been trying to reason with people who saw reason as an obstacle. It was time to change the battlefield. My first ally was a woman named Beatrice Crow. She was a retired attorney in her late 60s who had become a regular guest at the Alcyone, drawn by the quiet and the library. She had a sharp mind, a no-nonsense demeanor, and a deep-seated loathing for injustice. Over tea in the parlor, I laid it all out. The history, the pressure, the $5,000 charge. I showed her the emails from Chloe. Beatrice listened, her eyes missing nothing. When I finished, she set her cup down with a definitive click. "This is not a family squabble, Elara. This is tortious interference, potential fraud, and certainly conversion. That's the civil term for theft. You have been far too patient. It's time to stop being a doormat and start being a fortress." She became my strategist. Her first command, "Say nothing. To anyone, do not engage. You are a black box." Their greatest weapon is your reaction. Deny it to them. The silence was my first tactical move. I stopped answering their calls. I let their emails pile up in a folder I labeled evidence. The family's attempts to reach me became frantic, then angry. My mother left tearful voicemails. Elara, why are you being like this? Liam is just trying to help. Call me back. Liam sent a text. This silent treatment is childish. We have clients to prepare for. The retreat is in 6 weeks. I didn't respond. Every ignored message was a brick in my emotional fortification. My second ally was a former client, Mark, who ran a boutique cybersecurity and private investigation firm. I'd hosted his company's actual paid-for retreat the previous year, and we'd stayed in touch. When I called him, my voice steady with this new purpose, he didn't hesitate. Send me everything, Elara. We'll start a digital audit. The evidence gathering began. With Mark's remote guidance, I installed a logging program on my business router. I discovered that Liam had not only guessed the password to my Wi-Fi during his visit, but he had also installed a remote access Trojan on the office computer, giving him a live view of my bookings and finances. It was how he'd known about the half-full weeks and how he'd gotten my business card details. Mark helped me document the intrusion, capturing screenshots and packet logs that were irrefutable. Next was the financial fortification. I marched into my bank, appointment made with the branch manager. I explained the situation, showed him the fraudulent charge, and secured my accounts. I closed the old card, opened new accounts with new passwords and two-factor authentication, and set up alerts for any transaction over $100. The bank reversed the $5,000 charge, classifying it as unauthorized. I secured my credit reports, placing fraud alerts with all 3 agencies. Beatrice helped me draft a cease and desist letter. It was not sent from me, but from her, on her old law firm's letterhead. It was cold, precise, and terrifyingly legal. It demanded that Liam and Chloe immediately cease all use of the Alcyone's name and likeness, cease all contact with me regarding business ventures, and provided an itemized list of the digital intrusions and the financial theft, with a demand for damages to be calculated. It stated that any further action would be met with immediate legal proceedings. I sent it by certified mail. The satisfaction of knowing it was landing in their mailbox, of picturing them opening that formal, damning document, was a balm to my soul. I was no longer just defending. I was counterattacking. The final piece of evidence came from an unexpected source. My own mother. Frustrated by my silence, she came to the Alcyone unannounced. I saw her car, and following Beatrice's advice, I recorded our conversation on my phone. "You're tearing this family apart," she cried, standing in my foyer. Over a little misunderstanding? Liam explained it was a deposit. "It was theft, Mom," I said, my voice calm. "He stole from my business. He's family." "He wouldn't steal." "You're so cold, Elara, so unforgiving. He and Chloe have put everything they have into this retreat idea. They've already spent thousands on marketing and promises to clients. If you back out now, they'll be ruined." And there it was. The admission. They had been selling my property, my time, and my labor without my consent. They had incurred liabilities based on an asset they did not own. I had my mother on tape, confirming their reckless, entitled scheme. The satisfaction of building my case, piece by meticulous piece, was immense. I was no longer a victim of their chaos. I was an architect of my own order. The confrontation did not happen in a shouting match across a dinner table. Beatrice arranged it to happen in a neutral, high-stakes environment, a mediation room at a law firm in Portland. The walls were beige, the carpet was thick, and the air was chilled. It was a room designed to drain emotion and focus on facts. I sat beside Beatrice, a folder of documents before me. Across the polished wooden table sat Liam and Chloe and their newly hired, flustered-looking lawyer. Liam tried to start with charm. "Elara, look, can we please just talk about this like adults? This has all gotten so out of hand." I said nothing. I looked at Beatrice. "My client is here to listen to your response to the cease and desist and our subsequent findings," she said, her voice like polished steel. "This is not a conversation. This is a negotiation to avoid a civil lawsuit for fraud, conversion, computer fraud, and intentional infliction of emotional distress." Their lawyer paled. Liam's smile vanished. The evidence cascade began. Beatrice started with the simplest, most undeniable point. She slid a copy of the bank statement with the $5,000 charge across the table. "You took $5,000 from my client's business account without authorization. The bank has classified this as fraud. We are prepared to file a police report. Explain." Chloe spoke, her voice tight. "It was a deposit. For the retreat. We were going to pay her back from the profits. You took money from an account that was not yours to access for a service at a property you do not own, to which the owner had repeatedly denied you permission, Beatrice stated. That is not a deposit. That is theft. Next point, she then presented the emails. Printouts of Chloe's directives on branding, her menu suggestions, her instructions on tweaking my operations. You were presenting yourselves as having authority over the Alcyone and its operations. You were committing tortious interference with a business, potentially defrauding your own clients by selling them a service you could not legally provide. Liam's lawyer started to speak, but Beatrice held up a hand. She then presented the pièce de résistance, Mark's digital forensics report. It was laid out in plain English, with screenshots showing the IP address linked to Liam's home router accessing my computer, the logs of the keylogger, the evidence of the remote access Trojan. This is a violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, Beatrice said calmly. A federal statute. It carries both civil and criminal penalties. You hacked into my client's business computer to steal financial data and spy on her operations to further your fraudulent scheme. The collapse was spectacular to behold. Liam's face went from arrogant to confused to ashen. He looked at the technical report like it was written in a foreign language. I just needed to see the bookings. To plan... You committed a felony, Mr. Sallow, Beatrice said, using his last name with chilling effect, to facilitate a theft and a fraud. Then I played the recording. My mother's voice, filled with anguish, filled the sterile room. He and Chloe have put everything they have into this retreat idea. They've already spent thousands on marketing and promises to clients. If you back out now, they'll be ruined. I broke my silence, my voice quiet but clear. You see, it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a plan. You bet everything you had on being able to bully me into compliance, on the assumption that I would, as always, give in to keep the family peace. You leveraged my life's work to back your own bad bet. Chloe began to cry, not tears of remorse, but of self-pity. You've set us up. You led us on. The consequences were laid out, not in bullet points, but in a devastating narrative woven by Beatrice. She described the lawsuit we would file, the public court documents detailing the hacking and theft, the subpoenas for their personal finances, the judgment that would undoubtedly strip them of any remaining assets and likely force them into bankruptcy. She described the forwarding of the digital evidence to the district attorney's office for criminal prosecution. She painted a picture of their social and professional annihilation. Who would hire a corporate retreat consultant who was a convicted fraudster? Their lawyer, seeing the insurmountable wall of evidence, advised them in a hushed, urgent tone to settle. The negotiation that followed was brutal in its clinical precision. The final agreement, legally binding and signed that day, stipulated what? Liam and Chloe would provide a full, written confession of their actions to my entire family, using me and Beatrice, so. They would pay me $25,000 in damages, a sum that covered my legal fees, Mark's services, and compensation for the emotional distress. They would sign a permanent restraining order, preventing them from contacting me or coming within 500 feet of the Alcyone. They would dissolve L&C Consultancy and never use the Alcyone's name or image in any business endeavor again. In return, I would not pursue criminal charges, provided all terms were met immediately. Watching them sign that document, their hands shaking, their grand vision evaporating into a legal nightmare, was a catharsis so profound it felt like a physical unburdening. The reckoning was complete. The invaders had been not just repelled, but routed. The aftermath was not loud, but beautifully, profoundly quiet. The frantic emails stopped. The guilt-tripping voicemails ceased. The Alcyone was truly wholly mine again. The first morning after the mediation, I walked through the silent, sun-dappled halls and felt a peace I hadn't known in years. It was no longer a sanctuary under siege. It was a fortress that had been tested and had held. The family fallout was significant. Liam and Chloe's confession email created a seismic shock. Some relatives sided with them, calling me ruthless and vindictive. My relationship with my parents was strained, a chasm of disappointment and misunderstanding between us. They couldn't reconcile the daughter who always fixed things with the woman who had so decisively broken a situation to save herself. It was a painful loss, but I realized it was the loss of an idea, not a reality. The reality was that I had been loving a version of them that saw and valued me, and that version had never truly existed. Other family members, however, saw the truth. An aunt I'd always been close to but distant from called me. "I read Liam's confession," she said. "My God, Elara, what they did. I'm so sorry. I think you're incredibly brave." It turned out I wasn't the only one who had been silently resenting the family dynamics. My actions had for some set a new precedent. The $25,000 payment arrived via wire transfer. I used part of it to install a state-of-the-art security system at the Alcyone, a visible symbol of my new boundaries. The rest I invested back into the hotel, creating the small, curated wine bar I'd always dreamed of, a space of pure, unadulterated joy. Months later, sitting on the porch with Beatrice, watching a winter storm whip the Atlantic into a fury, I felt a sense of vindication so deep it was spiritual. The storm was outside, and I was safe, warm, and in control within my walls. "They thought my kindness was a weakness," I said to her, sipping my tea. "They thought my sanctuary was just real estate." Beatrice smiled, a rare, genuine sight. "No, my dear. They thought you were the same person you'd always been. They failed to see you had evolved. Building boundaries isn't about keeping people out. It's about defining who you let in and on what terms. You didn't just build a hotel, you rebuilt yourself." The lesson I learned was that some families operate on a silent economy of exploitation, where the responsible are punished with more responsibility and the entitled are rewarded with excuses. The only way to break free is to refuse to participate. It requires a willingness to be called the bad guy by those who benefited from your silence. True peace isn't the absence of conflict, but the presence of justice, self-respect, and the courage to protect the life you've built. If you believe in protecting your peace, if this story of reclaiming a life built with your own hands resonates with you, then consider this your sign. Your sanctuary, whatever it may be, your home, your savings, your peace of mind, is worth fighting for. Do not let anyone convince you that setting boundaries is selfish. It is the highest form of self-respect. You are the architect of your own life. Build strong walls, install a good security system, and never ever apologize for protecting what is yours. What is yours.